In typical Final Fantasy XI mobile fashion, we've been gifted the barest amount of news, but it is still the most meaningful update since the initial announcement in 2015. I'm sure most of you have already heard about it, but let's get right into what was shared and my thoughts on what it means for the game's release. So hey guys, it's Huntin for Games, bringing you as always a healthy mix of videos on new releases and MMOs, and nostalgia trips for the classics that made us fall in love with games in the first place. Since many of those nostalgia trips take place in Vana'diel, the mobile release of my favorite game, Final Fantasy XI, is a pretty big deal to me. So this morning when I awoke to 5 new images of what is apparently Final Fantasy XI mobile, I got super excited. So what's the deal? Friends pointed me to a bunch of sites sharing the screenshots, but after some digging, it looks like RCL was the person who originally found this and posted it on Reddit. Thank you very much, RCL. Well, Nexon, developer of Final Fantasy XI Mobile, posted a new job listing on their site that contained these 5 images. I'm not sure how much Google Auto-Translate is screwing me up here, but they're hiring for what looks like a position on the Final Fantasy XI Mobile development team and provided these screenshots as kind of a reference to the project. So what do they tell us? I mean, keep in mind this is all guesswork, as this wasn't a press release with any sort of details provided, but an actual job listing that just references the Final Fantasy XI mobile project and some vague details about what the job would entail. That is all in Japanese. So I'm just gonna kind of run through the images and kind of share what's popping out to me, what's important. I started drafting up all the little details I was seeing, and it was getting to be too much. So let's just talk about it. The first picture, we can see a Taru and a Hume staring out over a rocky landscape with some familiar Tsuruta or Tarangi style trees popping up here and there. Most importantly, I can't immediately label this as any one zone from the current Final Fantasy XI release. My best guess would be Tarangi Canyon, but if that's true, it's very different. Tarangi was mostly rolling hills with sharp cliffs kind of surrounding the area and in the center of that plateau. This has large outcroppings all over the place, almost kind of similar to Baburamu Peninsula, but the colors are all wrong for Peninsula, so I don't think it's that. There's some sort of large outpost in the distance, and frankly, it's all beautiful. I mean, it looks amazing. If I was told that this was a PC release, I wouldn't even be upset. It looks great. But this is the important thing: this is all brand new. That's really important for Final Fantasy XI Mobile, because it means they're not taking zones, they're not even taking maps, structures, and styles, and putting them into the new release with a fresh HD overhaul. And that's, pros and cons to that. I personally would really appreciate them just ripping out the game and making it HD, but not really changing anything drastic, because I kind of want that nostalgic feel of walking through the zones that I know and love, almost by muscle memory. I can picture where I'm supposed to go, I know them by heart, but they just look way better. This will be a very different experience, because even if, as they've described it in the past, they kind of keep the storylines, the flow of the story, and the quests, and the experience the same, it'll never be truly the same if all the areas that we're going through, even if there are the same exact areas by name, are different. But based on these pictures, I wouldn't even be surprised if they kind of combined certain zones like Tarangi and Baburamu to a single experience and kind of streamlined the whole thing into a more mobile platform. But again, a lot of guesswork. Let's keep moving down. That first image is very interesting for a lot of reasons. I'm kind of interested in whether or not characters can jump off that cliff they're standing on. That's pretty high. But let's keep going. The second one, I definitely think has to be, oh my gosh, Zandoria. I couldn't think of it for a second. I could be wrong about this. It could be somewhere else, but it definitely gives me the Zandoria feel with the architecture going on, the style of, it's all, flat with a couple trees popping up here and there. I love that in the bottom right, we can see that little Tartaru in one of my favorite pieces of level 40 gear, that robe. I love that piece of gear, so I love to see it in sort of, even in 5 pixels that we've been provided, HD textures, just so cool. A lot of other familiar gear here. It's kind of interesting that there's mounts in what looks like the city, unless it's in fact Ranfuru and it's outside the city. Not that those are crucial details, but I do think it's weird. Final Fantasy XI currently, you can't take mounts into the city. So we obviously have some different rules here. Maybe boundaries aren't really the same, and you can just use mounts wherever. Or like I said, this could be outside the city, but it just doesn't, it certainly seems like we're being enclosed in the way that this shot is framed, but we don't have too much to go on. Third one has to be Fort Gelsby. It looks exactly like Fort Gelsby. And in fact, this is the only one that I think you could tell me is ripped directly from the game, and I would sort of believe you. I'm not 100% positive, but that bridge, that little cave behind them, the orcs chasing this poor Mithra, it's all perfect. I love that she's wearing what I think is the scale mail. The Mithra style is slightly different than the Mikote in Final Fantasy XIV. The art style is just like a little different, and it's subtle, but it was important to me when Final Fantasy XIV came out. I was like, oh, the Mithra look a little bit different, and it's awesome to see that they haven't, in some places, like taken 14. I was kind of worried that they would take assets from 14 and also plop them in to 11 mobile, because I'm sure a lot of them are easier to port now than some of the original 11 assets. But the Mithras look perfect. I kind of went on a rant there about Mithra versus Mikote, but Fort Galsby, really cool. Not sure what's going on with like the red enemies behind. There are definitely abilities that can make enemies kind of look like that for a second, so it doesn't look out of place. I just couldn't tell you off the top of my head what they're doing, especially the one in the back. Like, is he jumping? What's happening? I'm not sure. The fourth one definitely looks like Ronfu to me. Could be wrong about that, but it's really cool to see, you know, some more races. We've got a female Elvon. Just looks fantastic. Actually, I have to admit, out of all the screenshots, this one is the least impressive, because you can kind of see that the grasses are kind of crappy on the ground. Still super beautiful from like her knees up, but I just, like, out of all these screenshots, I'm least impressed by this one. But if that is in fact Ronfu, it is the prettiest Ronfu has ever looked, and I can't wait to see more of it. The last one has me the most confused, besides, you know, the original Tarangi confusion point. What is happening? Where are we? Somebody brought up that this might be one of the tortoises that are out in like Cape Tarragon, or one of those zones, but it doesn't look anything like that. I have no idea what zone this would be. The color palette and style of what's happening make no sense with this giant turtle. I mean, it could be Genbu, but Genbu's in Sky, and we're definitely not in Sky in this screenshot. Still, it is actually the only one besides that first one we've got two characters kind of standing together that indicates that group play would be present. While that was always kind of assumed, this is Final Fantasy XI Mobile. You know, we couldn't be sure. I'm pretty sure at this point that this means that there will be some sort of group play, which is encouraging, but I am concerned from just the nature of online mobile MMOs that I've seen, that it'll be kind of a solo experience with some multiplayer peppered in here and there. Again, that's all conjecture based on other projects, but I am excited to see, at least in one screenshot, 3 players attacking the same enemy. It is kind of curious though that it's not 6 players, it's not 5 players, it's not standard group sizes for Final Fantasy XI or other MMOs. It's 3, kind of making me think that, like I was thinking, it is going to be a more casual experience, that you won't need a full party, you'll just need maybe other players, if you'll even need that. Here's a quick quote from Hayden on his thoughts on these new images. "I look forward to the game, especially if it's available on Switch. I worry it will turn out like taking my favorite movie and remaking it as a play or a musical, where all the parts are there, but it's presented in a very different and strange way. Which I suppose would be incredible or incredibly disappointing. I'll certainly give it a chance, but I'm cautiously optimistic." And I think he pretty much summed up my feelings exactly. I'm interested to see Final Fantasy XI kind of shared in a different format than I've seen it all my life, and, you know, how I've grown to love the game. But at the same time, that's like a recipe for disaster, for just ruining a game that has shaped and formed my love of video games, and obviously, you know, the Final Fantasy series. Nexon still has Final Fantasy XI listed on their 2018 and beyond kind of portfolio that they prepared to their shareholders a few days ago. It was listed as last, but it is on the 2018 and beyond. I mean, that could be anything. That could be this year, could be next year, could be 2024. But guys, let me know your thoughts. I'm not sure how I feel ultimately about these images. I mean, they're very cool. If you told me that it was a Final Fantasy XI remake on PC, I'd probably be thrilled. If you told me they were totally revamping the entire experience, I would be hesitantly excited. What we can tell is very little here. So I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments. I mean, obviously, like we said, cautiously optimistic kind of sums it up. I'm interested to see what they do, but being that it is a mobile release and by Nexon, and that we've basically seen nothing but these 5 images in the past, what, like 3 years, I just don't know how much we have to go on, and I'm terrified that they'll take my favorite game and utterly ruin it. But hopefully not. Keep checking back for more Final Fantasy XI videos and videos on other MMOs, and Final Fantasy XI mobile news whenever we get it. Otherwise, I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, you should totally think about subscribing. I've got videos coming out twice a week, and if you like this one, there's at least a chance you'll like some of the others that are very similar to this, so live dangerously. Let me know what you guys thought about the video in the comments and other videos you'd like to see. And finally, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Huntin for Games to keep up with all the latest stuff. See ya!